We're just two friends who love the movies, call each other every morning.
Hey man, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey dude, how's it going, dude?
I'm excited, man. I was looking forward to your call.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna be discussing our list. Of course, today's video will just primarily focus on our honorable mentions. Correct?
That's right. It is not really a top 15, although depending on the list maker, it can kind of turn out to be that way.
Yeah.
How do you think about honorable mentions? Just curious. Like when you kind of conceived this structure so far back in time, like when you said you get five honorable mentions on your top 10, what were you thinking?
Well, for me, I can't take credit. I've I've been doing this since like I don't know, man. Probably like the late 2000s, early 2010s, making my own list, right?
Since first grade.
And I kind of was following a similar structure to the great Roger Ebert. He would always have his list, and then he would always have films that he would kind of call out and mention, like uh, like give like a special jury award or something like that. And so
Hmm.
I always thought it would be cool to see like, okay, what these are your top 10, but what are the few films that didn't quite make it but were close to it, you know?
Okay, so
Because
that when you say it that way, it sounds more like a top 10. I know some people think of, I mean, a top 15. I think some people think of honorable mentions more like these aren't really like in the top 10 best films, but I wanted to call them out because there's something special about them or
yeah, they. I mean, to be, it's one of those things where if you chose movies that you thought were like maybe not great that would be in a top 10, but you saw something special in them, then it could be honorable mention. You know, it's really up to the person. But for me, I've always seen it as like these are the movies that didn't quite make the list, but they were close to it. Um, yeah, I mean, and you don't have to rank yours. I ranked mine, Mitch, mainly because on Letterbox, uh, they have the ranking right when you put up your list. So I ranked mine, but you don't have to necessarily rank yours.
I
Uh,
guess the way it varies for from year to year for me because some years I'm like, dude, I just can't this I can't narrow down to a top 10. I'm just glad to have these five more slots that I can honor some more. And then the other thing is sometimes I'm like, yeah, I there's something that, about this movie that's stuck in my craw or it's so unique that I just feel like it's got to be in there.
yeah,
It's so
it's up to the person, in my opinion. I've always enjoyed reading Roger Ebert's list because I would get to the very bottom and there would still be like maybe a handful of movies that he would call out. You know, like these are also worth mentioning. Um, but Mitch, why don't you lead us off? I have to be honest with you, I haven't really looked at your list because I wanted to be more. I looked at your list when you sent it out, but it
yeah,
was just
that's same.
brief.
I just blinked at yours.
It was a brief glance because I was like, you know what, I more or less know, but I want to be. I kind of want to discuss it with you. So why don't you lead us off? What's your first honorable mention?
Yeah, okay, and look. I think when you get to the end of the year and the lists are coming up due, one of the things that will usually creep in one way or another is a recency bias pick,
Yeah,
and only time will tell if it's really going to stick around. But this penultimate movie that I watched in 2025 really laid on me in a great way, so much that it uh, kick something off that I may regret later. But
what?
my first pick is this thing on?
Okay, nice, very good movie.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I just continually am admiring what Bradley Cooper is able to do in a movie as a director, and looking back over these three that he's made and thinking about there's always something about art, there's always something about relationship, and they're all different, um, and they stay interesting. But this one, I think especially interacting with the idea of marriage is like a failed concept, or it's old-fashioned, or it's going away, and you've got these two modern people that are educated and wealthy, and they're in this thing, this very 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 old thing, and it's 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 come to pieces in a way that they can't quite put their finger on. And then just to see them find individual passions that would seem to displace the need for that relationship, and yet they still want that. They still circle that. They still circle. They're stuck on this family that they've made. They've become one, and I don't know, man. It just really, really hit me. The scene too where Darren is telling, she gets upset. They rediscover each other. They kind of have a fling. They start dating again, even as after their marriage they've just divorced, or they've just separated. Um, and she gets upset, and it kind of dawns on her. She's like, "You can upset me. I can upset you," and that's a part of this whole thing too. And I thought, Sam, if this movie is a movie, if this movie is a movie, they'll get together in the end. And I was so happy that they, spoiler, did.
Yeah. Well, this movie, I'm with you. I really, really liked it. I thought it was a breath of fresh air, especially after Bradley Cooper's last film. I think yeah, he's really great. I think he's really coming into his own. And yeah, what was the movie that this knocked out?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I wasn't going to cheat and give myself a top 16. But
No,
since
it's
you
okay.
asked and I didn't volunteer it, it was Cloud.
Cloud.
Now, let me tell
Oh,
you something, Sam. One of the things I did this year that was unique because we've been doing this movie called podcast is I thought to myself, there were some that I was really dreading having to cut, but I
yeah.
thought, oh, Sam's going to have that on his list. And so, in a way, I feel like I have two lists this year.
Two
Um,
lists.
so that helped make it easier to cut some things. But you didn't have Cloud on your list, so you betrayed me. Sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler. Doggone it. I didn't mean to do that. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Wow, Mitch. Wow,
I'm
dude.
sorry. That was my
Dude,
one strike. That was my one strike.
dude, no, it's you like wow. I'm over here acting like I don't know what's on your list, and you're over here just handing out that information like free, man.
I blew it.
Well, since he mentioned it, Cloud is not on my list. It was on my like top 20 25, but
Yeah,
uh,
shortlist for sure.
yeah, towards the end, it wasn't. But okay, so my first honorable mention, this is because I did, like I said, I did rank it because of Letterboxd. My number 15 is a movie that I think when people look back at 2025, it's going to be one of the 10 movies that people remember. Okay. And it is a recent Oscar winner, and that movie is Weapons. I know you hated
Mm.
this movie. I know you hated it, but the thing is, man, I love when people make big swings, and this movie worked for me, and there were some things that didn't work for me. Okay. And I love it, and even after multiple viewings, I still love it. Now, at one point, it was in my top 10, but because of other films, that's how it works. But I just did not feel right leaving this movie off my list. So that's why Weapons is my number 15, or yeah, my first honorable mention I mentioned.
I'll just say very briefly. I guess I wouldn't describe myself as hating it. I think I don't trust it. Is kind of the summation I would give for my
Okay.
feelings towards it. Although I do see that it's well done, and I can understand why you would like it. And there were aspects that I really liked too. So
Yeah,
yeah, cool,
and
cool.
any movie that is inspired by Magnolia will grab my attention. So there's that. All right, what's your next one, man?
Oh shoot, I don't even remember. Oh, okay, yeah. So, my next pick is Steve.
Steve with Cillian Murphy.
That's right, Steve with Cillian Murphy. Lori and I watched this together. We both really loved it. It's about people who are uh, they're tragically broken people themselves, but are still giving everything they have to help and love others, especially to help and love young people. And I think it's a complicated movie, it's a painful movie, and it's a beautiful movie. And I think it didn't get a lot of attention, but I like what Cillian Murphy's up to at this stage in his career post Oscar win, and I hope that he and his this director that he's been working with keep making more uh, uh, adaptations of books that are this emotionally resonant and that inspire you to to push a little more towards loving your neighbor and helping to raise up the next gen.
Well, this is one that I didn't catch, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I actually think that Killian Murphy's performance in Small Things Like These. Remember that one?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, incredible. Same director, right?
yes, same director. I think his performance post Oppenheimer has been like it's been better. It's almost as if like he's kind of like relaxed now. You know, he's won his Oscar. He
He's doing
started.
things he finds important, and you will like this one, Sam, because it's same director but very different. It's like got some thematic overlap, but it's stylistically different and interesting. So I really hope some people will see this movie.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, isn't it?
Hmm.
Okay. So my number 14, and I have to say, if I had watched this movie one more time, or if I had watched it way back when and let it settle more, it probably would have ended up in my top 10, Mitch.
Hmm.
And that movie is David Mamet's Henry Johnson. Um, yeah, so here's a movie, folks, that we actually have its own specialty video on because there's not really anything on YouTube about it. I mean, there's a few videos, but not really anything focused on the film. And I mean, Mitch can agree. This is a pretty special film. This is one of those event films because David Mamet hadn't made a movie in a long time.
Yeah, that's right.
But I love this film. I think it's really great. I do, man, I can't tell you, dude. I wish so much that I could have watched this at least one more time. Or even a couple months back. That way it could just sit with me. But there's no way I could leave it out. So it's my number 14 honorable mention, Mitch.
Yeah, great inclusion. It makes me think, dude, I wonder if I'd watched Is This Thing On a second time if it would have not been on the list. I guess it could always go either way.
Either way, right?
Um, but
Yeah.
that's a good pick. And let's see. My next one is it's Mission Impossible: The Final
Oh
Reckoning.
man. Okay.
Hey, haters are gonna hate, but
Okay.
I can't. The best time, the best time at the movie theater. So much fun. So excited. Love this series, and it spawned an entire rewatch with my wife, and she went to see it by herself because she was so high on the Mission Impossible
Did
supply,
she like it?
and she loved it. Yeah, she could not understand. She was just baffled that people were hating on it like they were, and I was like, I know, honey, I know. And so I'm always gonna love this movie, and yeah, I guess a lot of it is propped up on the series at large too. You can say that, that's fair, but I had a time in my life, the submarine, the airplanes, everything. I was just every moment I was just so much joy, and
Look,
I felt like a kid. I felt like a kid.
yeah, I'm a big Mission Impossible fan. I just want to clarify that. I will say you take out that first hour, then you got one of the best Mission Impossible movies. This movie, from that hour onwards, is like intense. It's emotional. It's why you go to the movie. So I'm
I
with you
wanted them
there.
to add an hour, and I wanted 50% of that new hour to be montage also.
Yeah,
Main characters popping back up.
Yeah,
and retconning the series at large.
I do love the fact that they did bring back characters from older films that you didn't think that they would. But so my next film is, let me grab this. My next film is The Phoenician Scheme.
Mm.
So
Ooh.
gosh, man,
Yeah, that feels good, Sam.
move,
Get that
move.
Wes Anderson fix.
No, boys. Sorry, I'm feeding the dogs right now.
Oh, okay. No, boys. No, no, they don't like it, Wes Anderson.
There you
They're
go,
like,
boys.
no, Sam, no, no, no,
No, no,
no.
no, no,
Don't you
no,
know he does
no.
the same thing every year?
So, this is Wes Anderson's best movie since 2018. I also think it's his most spiritual film. He's dealing with a lot of like really, really heavy subject matter, man. It just pains me I can't include this one because it was in an earlier draft of my top 10, but I had to sit down with it. I had to think about it, and I was just like, you know what, man,
Do you
God,
think it's because it's so long ago?
I think so. I think if I had rewatched it recently, um, I think maybe it could have slipped in there. But here's the thing, Mitch, because I don't know about that because there are films that I watched even earlier than that
Mm-hmm.
that are in my top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think yeah, that is one though. Like when I came off Henry Johnson wanting to rewatch Phoenician Scheme, I didn't rewatch, but that's another one. Like I was like, man, it feels like there's so much that you can mine here.
Yeah, I wish I could have rewatched it again. I do love it. It'll probably be one of those where, like, maybe a year from now, we always talk about, like, do we have any regrets? It's probably going to be one of the regrets, or maybe not, you know? So,
Yeah.
what's next on your list?
So next on my list is a very quiet movie called No Sleep Till.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where, look, I have to be honest with you about something, okay? Before you continue. I was I was about to watch this movie, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I was like, okay, yeah, I was about to watch it. But then I saw Caleb's review of it.
Oh,
And
did he write a review?
no, his I'm sorry, his rating of it.
Oh, what did he
And
give it?
he gave it 3 out of 5. And
Okay.
the thing is that it kind of, not that I, because there are some cases where I'm on the right track with Caleb, right? Where we're both very similar.
Hmm.
But he's usually at least for me, he's usually pretty good at, like, we're kind of on the same wavelength, right? And since I saw that, I was like, ah, man, this is we're getting close to the wire, right? I don't know if this is one where, I mean, he thinks it's okay. I rather, and so I ended up putting Is This Thing on. So yeah, like I was gonna watch, it, but I
I
got
mean, to be
distracted.
honest, the if I had to guess which of those two movies you're gonna enjoy more, I would say, yeah, is this thing on? For me, it's pretty impossible to describe exactly how much my jam this movie is. I love stuff that's like in the pseudo docu style. It's got the gasoline rainbows or bloody nose, empty pockets kind of vibe, even like a little bit of an Ephes air
Yeah,
to it. And I just love where you can just go around in an area, go around with people that feel very real. It had these very great, they weren't soundtrack, it was just, what do you call it? I can't remember the term for it, but music that occurs in the scene
yeah,
itself, but they were songs that were catching your vibe and the lighting and just the little throwaway lines, throwaway moments. Yeah, it's a movie of throwaway moments,
yeah.
and they're all there. The moments thrown away are all there, and it's just a little dream that I got to have one night in 2025, and I'll always cherish it.
Yeah, man. Well, I wish I could have, I wish I would have checked it out, especially the gasoline rainbow. comparison, but it's just one of those. Sometimes you miss some, and sometimes you catch others. So I'm glad I watched Is This Thing On? But my next pick is a movie that, dude, it's one of those movies where it's kind of I I watched this movie a few times, Mitch, and the first time I watched it, if I had just watched it that one time, I'm telling you, it would have been in my top five movies.
Oh, there's an example. Yeah, we were just talking about.
Yeah, it would. If I would have just watched it one time, it would have been in my top five. I watched it a second time. I didn't love it as much as the first time, but I still loved it. And then I watched it a third time, and I didn't love it nearly as much as the previous two, but I still loved it. That movie is Marty Supreme. I
Marty Supreme.
Yeah, I think that I'm sorry, folks, once again, but I think Timothy Chalamet should have won for this role. I think it was the most, and compared to a few of the others, once again, my pick would have been Ethan Hawke, but he was just magnetic. This is one of those performances that is just like, wow, like it's monumental, man, monumental. And although I loved his performance after multiple rewatches, Mitch, the movie just didn't have that lasting power, and it just didn't have that same energy. And maybe it's just one of those where you watch it once and that should be more than enough. And maybe I should have just left it as is, right? Like just left it at one watch. But yeah, I mean, I also think it's a long movie, and I for me, it's a little, especially after the rewatches, it's a little clumsy in it doesn't always flow together as much as it can, right? Like it feels like it's all over the place, and maybe that was the point. But yeah, I mean, I still love this movie. Obviously, it's my number 12 pick. But yeah, so that's Marty Supreme.
Do you think a part of it being so far down is that you're such a big ballet fan?
Dude, I didn't
Dude,
want
I
people
had
to
I had
judge
the
me.
perfect joke for Conan because there was an opera song nominated for the
Yeah.
doggone best original song. Dude, that was like it teed up for him.
Dude, people are really hating on Conan.
I don't think they should hate on him, but
They did
uh,
not like his opening monologue.
I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. It's
I thought
just
it was too.
I don't know. I think, we keep bringing the higher standard though. If people
Yeah,
if people hating on Conan are gonna get us another swing for the fences, great Oscar show, then so
yeah.
be it.
So what's next on your list? Is this your final honorable mention?
Yeah, my final honorable mention, and the more I look at it, man, the more I think I feel like this should be higher. I feel like maybe I could have swapped this in my number 10, but here it is in the honorable mentions. It's The Smashing Machine.
Okay.
Wow, dude, I'm with Nolan, baby. I think this thing is going to be understood more and more over time, and I think that's kind of just proved out on a microcosm level with me. The more I think about it, the more I remember it, the more impactful it is. And for me, it's all about this opening moment. It wasn't even the Dwayne Johnson's character. It was just some random fighter, and he had just got his bell rung, and they were checking on him, and they were like, "Do you know where you are?" And he's like, "I lost." And they said, "Do you know who you are?" And he said, "I'm in a fight." And I was like, "That's it. Like that's who you are and where you are. I'm in a fight and I lost." Like, and just it's a movie about that binary, about winners and losers, and about winning and losing being your identity, about a man who couldn't understand what it meant to lose, didn't even enter his consciousness, so to speak, and finding out what it meant to lose, and his buddy coming in and saying, "Hey, I still love you, brother," and realizing, oh, if is this what it means to lose? I lose, but my buddy still loves me. Okay, I'm okay then. It's an amazingly emotive, tender um, movie, and I really really like it.
Well, hearing you talk about it, it kind of makes me, how passionate you are. It makes me think like maybe you should have added it as your number 10. I
Yeah, but
I'm I'm on the opposite end. I think this is a movie that is very. I saw what it was going for, but I just think it was just too long. It was just. Uh, I don't know, man. It just felt it was a mixed bag for me. There were some really great moments, but there was also some just very like, okay, when is this movie gonna get going? When is it gonna really pick up? What are we doing here? It just felt like it was like stale. But that's the thing about list, man. You know, sometimes there's gonna be some that are on my list that you disagree with. But my next pick is a movie that I don't think I want to watch again. And I don't think it's well, I'll just say the title. My number 11 pick, the movie that barely missed my top 10 list, was The Chronology of Water. And I think
Hmm.
the reason why it wasn't in my top 10 is because of the fact that, like I stated, I probably won't ever watch this movie again. Um, this movie is rough. It is rough. It is a true indie art house film. It's a movie about, trauma, abuse, right? Of many, many kinds. And it's about art, man. And I don't know if you know this, Mitch, but so do you know the movie The Basketball Diaries?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
No.
Okay, so that movie, once again, I'm giving you details that you may not know or you may know. Um, that movie is the movie that got me into writing poetry, which then in turn got me into writing music. Well, this movie is, it reminded me so much of that movie, and maybe that's why my love for this is so high. It's a very poetic film.
Uh
It's
huh.
beautiful, but it's also ugly, and I think that's part of life. Life
Yep.
is beautiful, but life is also very ugly. And I think it was an amazing debut, and it would have been in my top 10, but like I stated, I just don't think I could watch this movie ever again. But
I hear you, dude.
that
Yep.
that
I know movies like that where you're like, I needed to watch this, but yeah, one and done. You know, it did its work.
yeah, but that being said, it's stuck with me since I watched it. There
Yeah.
hasn't been a day that has gone by where I haven't thought about this movie. So hence why I included it. It was the one that barely missed my top 10, but it just it's not one that I'm telling you I don't think I'll ever watch again. And I'm okay with that. I'm
Yep.
definitely okay with that. So yeah, that's it, man. Those are the honorable mentions. Any final words?
Well, so far we've got no overlap, right?
No overlap. No, none
So far.
so far.
So that was interesting, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing those, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the remainder of your list.
Yeah, 10 through 6. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
See you, man.